It's wonderful to be back here. Last year we were talking about defeating gambling in Alabama, but this year we have a really neat initiative that we started. The president of our board of our C3 really wanted to do something to help Americans realize the new freedoms that we have under after the court case with, now how do I do this thing? The court case with Kennedy, Joseph Kennedy. So we partnered with a media company out of Texas to produce for us 2 4-minute videos. And we are thrilled to tell you that just in the last couple of months, we've had tens of thousands of views and over 500,000 impressions on these videos. And the first video, it's 4 minutes, and we're going to watch it here in just a minute, but it basically tells us about our new freedoms and how they happened. So let's just watch that real quick.
Freedom, it's the very heartbeat of America, the ideal that drives us. Americans have fought and died for it, but for decades, court rulings have placed strict limits on the role of faith in public life. And that's why a recent Supreme Court decision is a huge game changer. Today, we'll clear up a basic misconception about the phrase separation of church and state and explain the recent Supreme Court decisions that effectively overturn 50 years of legal hostility towards religion. How did this happen, and what does it mean for you? Trial attorney Kelly Shackelford is America's premier legal expert on religious liberty, who has successfully put on 5 major cases before the U.S. Supreme Court.
I think when you look at the founding and what our founders were trying to do and why they established this country, they wanted to be able to worship, they wanted to be able to live out of the church itself and exercise their religion in public, in their daily life, in every way, without the government telling them that they can't do those things. Of course, separation of church and state, those words are not in the Constitution. We have an establishment clause and a free exercise clause. That term came from a letter by Thomas Jefferson to let people know at the Danbury Baptist Association that the government wasn't going to be used to control the church or to control religious freedom.
So there is our first key point. Separation of church and state is not in the Constitution, but a term coined by Thomas Jefferson to assure colonial settlers that their freedom to worship was protected from interference by the government. That's very different from what some modern anti-religious groups have suggested. But here's the big news. The test created by Lemon versus Kurtzman, the 1971 Supreme Court decision that stopped school prayer in its tracks, has been overturned. Shackelford and his legal team at First Liberty Institute won this landmark case in 2022, but its broad repercussions are just starting to sink in.
There's a case called Lemon versus Kurtzman, which was handed down over 50 years ago. And what they did is the Establishment Clause, which we have to keep there from being a nationally established church that we all have to support, they said in this case, well, we think it means a lot more than that. We think it means sort of a strict separation of church and state. Well, what that would mean is anywhere government is, religion can't be. And of course, government's everywhere. So it's really a way to push religion to the corners of society. So it became a weapon. And people all the time will ask, gosh, they took down nativity scenes, they took down menorahs at Hanukkah, 10 Commandments were rolled into the closet. Why? Because that was in the Constitution? No, because of this Lemon test. And what happens in the Coach Kennedy case is they say Lemon's over. Everywhere that a cross went down, it can come back up. Everywhere that a 10 Commandments was rolled into the closet, it can come back out. Nativity scenes at Christmas, okay? Yeah. Menorah at Hanukkah, okay? Yeah. I mean, this is a total change for our country. When you remove religious references across the country, I mean, we're a religious people with a religious background, diverse, Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, you name it, right? But those religious values imbue our culture. When you remove them from the public arena, you get a very different morality, and we've experienced that for the last 50 years. This allows the real truth of who we are as a country to come back. You can celebrate the fact that you have religious people in your community. It's okay. That's who America is. But it's going to take that education, because most people have been trained for so long that they need to be taught and to understand that things have shifted dramatically because of the Coach Kennedy decision.
Religious freedom restored, and that's terrific news for all Americans. And legal insiders say that coming later this year in 2025 are new decisions upholding parents' rights, even as local school boards turn a deaf ear to what parents want for their kids. So until then, share this video and celebrate your religious liberty, our most important freedom.
As I watched that, it just really came to me. We are at an amazing turning point in our nation, not only with President Trump and his admiration for the Bible and Christian values. We're seeing that revitalized. We're seeing the young people coming back to the church. We're heading up to our 250th anniversary where patriotism is going to be okay and people are going to be celebrating throughout the year. And now with Charlie's death, we're going to see more and more people coming to the Lord and to patriotism and to our religious freedoms. And all these things are coming together to revitalize our country, and it's so exciting. The second video also is 4 minutes. About the first 2 minutes of it, they kind of recap what that 4-minute video did, and then they show a list of 20 things that can now be done since this court case has been settled. And you will have a handout in all these handouts from the speakers. I have a front and back, and on the front, you will see the 20 things that you can now do, and these are all things that we should be doing. Be bold, and a lot of them have to do with schools, so if you have kids in school or grandkids in school, these are all things that we should be doing. But then on the back side, we have partnered up with several organizations, but one of them, First Liberty, has something called Faith Blazers, and they are giving challenges. They're doing the same thing. I met the woman who's running Faith Blazers at a conference a couple months ago, and I told her about our videos, and she said, oh my gosh, we're trying to educate people about all our new freedoms now, and our restored freedoms, I should say. And so anyway, you can learn about Faith Blazers, and they're giving a challenge every month for you to do to help bring out this religious liberty. But if you're also on that second sheet, you got the Faith Blazers, and then there's legal resources. So if you feel you're working in an environment, a government environment, where you feel that your rights are being destroyed, then we have some legal resources for you to use there too. So anyway, I want to just ask you to please go to Alabama Eagles YouTube channel and share these videos. This is a very costly endeavor for us because the marketing company is helping us push these out across the country, and that costs a lot of money. And so but you guys sharing them really helps us get the word out. And so thank you so much for all of that.